You know that feeling when you really want to get something,
Oh.
like properly understand it, but you just don't have endless time.
Yeah, we all feel that.
Well, that's what we do here. Welcome to the deep dive. It's sort of your shortcut to grasping the stuff that really counts.
And today, we're jumping into a really foundational work. It's stuck around for generations, James Allen's As a Man Thinketh. It gives such a powerful way to look at our inner lives and our outer lives, too.
Right.
Our source is the full audiobook. You can find it on YouTube from the Legacies in History channel. Think of us as, guides digging into the best bits.
Okay, so our mission today isn't just a quick summary. We really want to pull out the core message from Allen,
Which is?
which is this incredible idea about the power of our thoughts, how they shape, well, everything, our character, our circumstances, what we actually achieve, even our destiny, really.
It's huge.
Yeah. So go ahead. You might find some connections here that are genuinely surprising, maybe some aha moments.
Let's hope so. So let's dive right in. The foundation, the cornerstone of Allen's whole philosophy, this link between thoughts and character.
Hmm.
It all comes back to that famous line, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Right. I've heard that.
But it's not just poetry, He lays it out as a fundamental principle.
Okay. Unpack that. So he's saying our consistent thoughts, like the ones we keep having, they literally build who we are.
Precisely. Yeah. Character is basically the sum total of your habitual thinking, your mental landscape. And these aren't just fleeting ideas. They're consistent forces shaping how we see things, the situations we end up in.
So if you're always thinking kind thoughts.
Then kindness becomes part of your character.
Exactly. But if you're constantly dwelling on negativity, fear, well, those traits get cultivated instead. It makes sense, doesn't it?
It really does. It's like our thoughts are seeds we're planting all the time.
That's a perfect analogy he uses. And what's fascinating now with modern neuroscience.
We can actually see how neural pathways strengthen with repeated thoughts. It's like that seed taking root, getting stronger.
Yeah.
It gives a real tangible basis to what Allen knew intuitively.
Right away.
So, say you dream of starting a business. If you consistently feed that thought with planning, positive expectation, it's much more likely to actually sprout into reality.
Right.
But if you just focus on, oh, what if I fail?
You stop yourself before you start.
Exactly. You build a mental barrier.
And this inner garden, our thoughts, it affects more than just actions, right? It impacts our feelings too. Joy, suffering.
Absolutely. Allen argues our thoughts are the very seeds of our emotional state. Resentment, envy, anxiety. Those plant seeds for negative experiences, inner turmoil.
Makes sense.
But if you consciously cultivate gratitude, compassion, hope, you create fertile ground for joy, often kind of independent of what's actually happening outside.
He paints these really stark contrasts, the person fixated on the worst case. It's like they attract it. While someone focused on growth, possibility, they seem to find it even when things are tough. It really shows how expectations can shape reality.
And the crucial part here is Allen's emphasis on our active role. We consciously shape our character.
Right, it's not passive.
Not at all. He compares thoughts to building materials. Consistent thoughts of honesty, integrity. Those are the strong bricks for a solid moral foundation.
Okay.
Thoughts of empathy, understanding. They build a compassionate nature. It's deliberate. It's ongoing mental construction.
Okay, so that's the why. Thoughts shape character. But what about the how? What practical steps does Allen give us? How do we actually cultivate better thoughts?
He lays out some really key practices. First, and maybe the most basic, is awareness.
Just noticing.
Just noticing, paying attention to that stream of thoughts. Are they helpful, hindering, empowering, limiting? Just observing without judging is the first step to seeing what needs to change.
Like catching that automatic negative thought, the one that just pops up.
Exactly. And once you're aware of it, the next step is to challenge it, question it.
Like, is this actually true?
Precisely. Is it based on real evidence or is it just fear, old experiences, assumptions? Often, when you really look at them, negative thoughts just crumble.
But it's not enough to just tear down the negative, right?
Yeah.
You need to build something positive instead.
Yes, exactly. Step 3, consciously replace it. Swap that negative thought for a more empowering one.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Instead of, I can't do this, you intentionally shift to, okay, this is challenging, but I'm capable of figuring it out. Or, I can learn from this. Practicing that consistently strengthens the positive pathways.
I can see how that would feel like a mental workout at first.
It does. It takes conscious effort, like retraining a muscle. Alan also talks about visualization.
Picturing what you want.
Vividly imagining the life you want, the person you need to be to create it, mentally rehearsing success. It's powerful for the subconscious. And finally, he really emphasizes gratitude, intentionally focusing on what you're thankful for.
That simple shift.
It can rewire your brain. Focus on abundance, not lack. It fosters a much more positive overall mindset.
Okay, moving on, Alan uses this really interesting phrase, inner and outer garments, to describe thoughts and circumstances. Can you unpack that metaphor?
Sure. It's a powerful image. It highlights the super direct, intimate connection between our inner world, our thoughts, our character, and our outer world, our circumstances, our experiences.
So they're connected like clothes.
Kind of. He basically says the mind is like a weaver, constantly creating both the inner garment, our character, and the outer garment, our reality.
Wow. So what we're thinking inside is literally being woven into our daily lives.
That's the core idea. He also uses the garden analogy again, mind as a garden.
Right, the weeds and flowers.
If you ignore it, weeds take over negative thoughts, chirk out the good stuff. But if you intentionally cultivate it, choose and nurture positive thoughts,
then your mind becomes fertile ground for growth, joy, better circumstances.
Exactly. And it's not just abstract. There's a principle at work, cause and effect, applied to thought. Positive thoughts are the cause. Positive outcomes are the effect. Negative thoughts, negative outcomes. Simple as that. But, and this is important, Alan points out there's often a delay, a time lag, between planting the thought seed and seeing it fully bloom.
So you need patience.
Patience and persistence. Keep tending that mental garden.
He gives some great examples of this.
Right.
Thomas Edison, right?
Yeah.
His persistence with the light bulb. Just unbelievable optimism despite failing so many times. It's a classic example. His unshakable belief, even when things looked impossible. It shows how a relentlessly positive, focused mind can overcome huge obstacles.
Yeah.
And think about athletes using visualization. That's well documented. Focused mental imagery directly impacting physical performance.
So it's really empowering. We're not just, victims of circumstance. We have agency. We can be architects of our own lives through our thoughts.
That's a crucial takeaway. Alan really pushes back against passivity. We are, to a large degree, active creators of our reality through our thought patterns and the choices that flow from them.
He even suggests challenges often contain lessons for our growth, spiritual, emotional, mental. Once we learn the lesson,
the situation changes or fades away.
Often, yeah. The specific challenge tends to dissipate.
Seeing challenges as learning opportunities instead of punishments. That's a powerful reframe.
It really is. Realizing the power of our thoughts lets us step up, become the master of our life, shift from reacting to creating.
Right.
And Alan notes how our external circumstances are often a direct mirror of our inner world. Cultivate inner patience, kindness, and you'll likely see positive shifts in relationships, interactions.
Okay, then he goes deeper into the soul's hidden power, attraction, creation. This sounds a bit like energy work intention.
It definitely resonates with those ideas. Alan suggests our soul acts like a magnet,
Pulling things in?
pulling in whatever we deeply hold inside. Love, opportunity, or fear and limitation. Our deepest thoughts and emotions set our kind of energetic frequency, and external circumstances tend to align with that.
So every thought is a seed.
A seed planted in the subconscious. It takes root, produces results, good or bad.
So if my dominant thoughts are scarcity, worry, I might actually be attracting more of that.
That's what Alan implies. But conversely, cultivating thoughts of abundance, possibility, gratitude makes you more likely to attract opportunities that match that positive focus. And he stresses our deepest desires, aspirations. Over time, they tend to manifest externally, guiding us down a path either fulfilling or detrimental, depending on what's driving us inside.
He also mentions laws of growth and adjustment. That makes sense. Like a plant adapting, our lives adjust to our thoughts.
Exactly. Positive, expansive thoughts foster growth, create space for better circumstances. Negative, limiting thoughts often lead to stagnation, struggle, keeping bad situations going.
Right.
He even addresses things like poverty and crime, suggests they aren't just bad luck, but often rooted in people allowing low, degrading thoughts to guide their actions.
That's a strong statement. A lot of responsibility on the individual.
It is. He argues circumstances reveal our inner thoughts, they don't create them. We attract what we embody, our thoughts, attitudes, beliefs, not just what we say we want.
So that divinity that shapes our ends.
Right.
He's saying that's our own inner power. We're responsible for our limits.
Yes, that's his take. Wishing isn't enough. Your inner world beliefs, thought habits, has to align with the desire.
Okay.
He says it's futile to fight external circumstances if you don't address the inner causes. Those conscious vices or maybe unconscious weaknesses that are really running the show.
Like money problems stemming from scarcity beliefs.
Exactly, or relationship issues rooted in negative beliefs about love or self-worth. The main point. Blaming the outside world is useless. Real change starts within. Self-examination, nurturing positive thoughts.
Okay, that flows into the law of growth. Inner work leads to outer results.
Right. Alan is firm. People are responsible for their circumstances, even if they don't realize the thought connection. We often sabotage ourselves with misaligned thoughts, conflicting desires. And he warns against judging by appearances. Everyone experiences consequences of their own thoughts and actions, he believes.
And even suffering has a role in this.
He suggests suffering often comes from wrong thinking. It can be a catalyst, a way to cleanse or purify internally. He believes pure, harmonious thought leads to the absence of suffering, and he challenges the idea that wealth equals blessedness. A harmonious mind is the real source of contentment, he argues. Poverty itself doesn't cause misery.
It's our reaction to it.
Our mental response, yes, that determines our state.
He even links poverty and indulgence, saying they're both extremes of mental imbalance.
Exactly. True contentment comes from a peaceful, ordered mind, regardless of external stuff. Happiness, health, success. They flow from inner harmony, alignment with the outer world, and that starts with inner attitudes. Gratitude, integrity, purpose.
So growth starts not with complaining, but with seeking the lessons and challenges.
Yes, and aligning our thinking with universal truths, justice. Embracing challenges as chances to find inner strength. The universe operates by law, he says. Justice, righteousness. Align with those principles and positive change follows.
Then he gets really practical about how thoughts manifest. Habits, circumstances, bringing it down to earth.
He does. He claims a significant, sustained shift in thinking leads to noticeable, often rapid, external changes.
How so?
Because thoughts, held consistently, acted upon, they solidify into habits. And habits, over time, build the foundation of our lives or situations.
He gave clear examples, didn't he? Like negative money thoughts leading to bad habits, debt.
Exactly. Versus positive financial thoughts fostering saving, leading to well-being, or anger eroding relationships while forgiveness brings peace, insecurity leading to missed opportunities, while confidence opens doors, even health-negative thoughts impacting well-being, positive thoughts nurturing healthy habits. It applies everywhere.
It's amazing how these ideas from, over a century ago, they line up so well with modern psychology, CBT, for instance.
It's remarkable, isn't it, the timelessness. His insights predate so much, yet they resonate with core concepts about our internal dialogue shaping our experience.
Yeah.
He even touches on things we now call the law of attraction. Positive mindset attracts positive outcomes. And of course, the power of thought is echoed in countless spiritual traditions.
Okay, then this idea of nature's echo, that's intriguing. The world responding to our thoughts.
Alan suggests the world around us sort of fulfills our dominant thoughts. Good or bad, our mental focus shapes the situations and opportunities we attract.
So negative thoughts reinforce negativity externally.
Seems to be his point. While letting go of them opens us up to more support, better circumstances.
Like the low self-esteem example, limiting opportunities versus self-belief opening doors. Our inner story sets the stage.
Precisely. He uses the analogy of a kaleidoscope. Life shifts its patterns based on our thought patterns. And then he hammers home the power of willpower, determination, focused intention. That's key to overcoming obstacles.
Right. He pushes back against blaming the environment.
Strongly. He says the human spirit is stronger than we think. He uses Oprah Winfrey as an example.
Yeah, transcending incredibly tough circumstances.
It's through sheer will and vision. It's a powerful testament. Alan even suggests strong will can sort of bend time and space, achieve things faster, reach distant goals.
Interesting.
He contrasts relying on chance with taking control through willpower. But he also reminds us, patience needs to go alongside persistent effort.
Which leads naturally to thought and purpose.
Yeah.
Having a clear direction for all this mental energy.
Absolutely crucial. Alan argues thought aligned with purpose is the key to real accomplishment. Aimless, scattered thoughts. They just dissipate energy, lead to disaster.
Uh-huh.
Find a clear, legitimate purpose, spiritual, worldly, whatever, and make it the central focus of your thoughts. That builds self-control, discipline.
Avoid the distractions, the fleeting desires that pull you off track.
Exactly. And even failures on the path to a purpose aren't wasted. They build character strength, which he sees as true success.
Right.
Purpose gives meaning, direction, channels energy, fosters growth. Without it, you get overwhelmed by small stuff. Worry, fear, scattered energy. No real drive.
So what if someone doesn't have a big life purpose figured out yet? Where do they start?
Good question. Alan advises focusing on your current duties. Whatever they are, do them to the absolute best of your ability.
Why?
It trains the mind, builds concentration, focus, sustained effort, skills you need for bigger goals later. He says even the weakest can build strength, physical, mental, emotional, through consistent effort, starting small.
Like mental weightlifting.
Exactly. Consistent, incremental effort leads to big gains. Turn weakness into strength by ditching aimlessness, using setbacks as learning fuel.
So training the mind is like training the body.
Yes. Consistent, focused effort builds mental muscle, resilience. Like training for a marathon, each small discipline adds up.
And once that focus is there, aligned with purpose, what happens? What's the potential?
Alan says a strong, unbending purpose acts like a powerful magnet. Pulls in what's needed for achievement. Clear aims marshal your mental forces, dissolve doubt, fear. He talks about mental creation, the idea that you have to build it in your mind first before it shows up in reality.
Whereas a shaky purpose leads to scattered thoughts, wasted energy. The ship without a rudder analogy.
Precisely. Removing doubt and fear is like preparing fertile soil for your goals. That leads to lasting results. Confident thought, tied to purpose, becomes a creative force.
Right.
Someone with focus directs their mind, achieves things. They're not just reacting anymore. And this applies everywhere. Relationships, health, work. Break free from doubt by setting small goals, celebrating wins, finding positive influences, having faith.
This all seems to lead back to his big point about individual responsibility for achievement.
Absolutely. Alan is adamant. In a balanced universe, all success, all failure comes from your own thoughts. Total individual responsibility. Strengths, weaknesses, purity, impurity, they're self-created, self-changeable. Circumstances reflect the inner world. As a person thinks, so they become.
He even says you can't really help someone change unless they want it.
Right. Yes. Real help, sustainable change, has to come from within. Inner strength isn't imposed, it's found. He even offers a nuanced view on oppression, suggesting that while oppressors bear responsibility, it can persist if the oppressed aren't aware of their own inner power. A wise person sees both sides with compassion, but the core message is constant. Thoughts shape lives. Elevate your thoughts, rise above limits. Blaming externals keeps you stuck.
So the real power is controlling our inner responses, our thoughts.
Precisely. Our internal response to external events is within our control. That lets us shape our future no matter where we start. Think of successful athletes, entrepreneurs, it's their mindset.
Right.
And changing thoughts takes effort. Conscious practice, meditation, affirmations, positive influences. Break the blame cycle, take responsibility, turn setbacks into growth. Ultimately, we're free to choose our thoughts, and that choice determines happiness, success, fulfillment.
And even for just, worldly success, Alan says we need to elevate our thinking beyond basic desires.
Definitely. Even material success requires thinking beyond just immediate gratification, self-indulgence. Controlling thoughts comes before controlling circumstances.
So progress means sacrifice.
Sacrifice of chaotic, self-serving thoughts in favor of planning, willpower, self-reliance. Higher quality thoughts lead to more fruitful, sustainable achievements.
Like the examples he gives, entrepreneurs sacrificing leisure, athletes training hard, artists honing their craft. It's about focused effort over time.
Exactly. The universe helps those who cultivate virtue, productive, disciplined, beneficial actions. Elevated thought attracts opportunities. Like a diligent farmer reaping a harvest, it rewards focused mental effort. Personal achievement is tied to sacrificing lower thoughts for higher ones, aligning your mindset with your best values.
Okay, so he wraps it all up with this idea of the all-encompassing law, thought governing the whole journey.
Yes, it's a pervasive force governing everything, leading us towards light or darkness depending on our thoughts.
Weakness attracts weakness, strength attracts strength.
In all forms, yeah. Selfish desires might bring fleeting pleasure but lead to suffering eventually. Noble aspirations bring lasting joy, peace.
Like attracts like in the realm of thought.
That's the essence. Cling to impure negative thoughts, you descend into suffering. Cultivate pure constructive thoughts, you rise towards peace. Harboring negativity leads to ruin. Cherishing nobility leads to happiness. He stresses maintaining high ideals, even if they seem unreachable. The striving itself elevates your life. Consistently aiming for excellence, even with imperfections, brings you closer.
So every thought counts.
Every thought is a force shaping destiny. Choose wisely. That's the potent reminder.
And he finishes by looking forward. Vision, ideals, their power.
Beautifully put. Aspiration is the soul reaching forward, a sign of inner power, potential. Ideals are the prophecy of what will eventually manifest.
So desiring something good is already starting to get it.
In a real sense, yes. Every heartfelt aspiration sets fulfillment in motion. He reassures us noble goals won't go unfulfilled. The universe rewards tangible effort and spiritual striving.
Back to the law of attraction. But with that key point, focus on higher, purer aspirations for true fulfillment, not just base desires.
Precisely. Dream big, he says. Dreams aligned with values are the blueprint for your future, the seeds of who you'll become. Vision is the map. Ideals the prophecy. Think of great inventions they started as dreams.
But you have to act on them.
Absolutely. Take steps, however small. Dreams are the foundation, guiding us to our potential. Cherish them, nurture them, stay true to them.
And he really ends by driving home the power of vision and belief, saying current situations aren't permanent.
That's right. They're not fixed if you can envision a goal and work towards it. Internal growth shows up externally. He paints that picture of the youth in poverty, dreaming big, taking steps.
And as you change inside, the outside starts to feel wrong, pushing you towards the vision.
Exactly. Or the person in the dead-end job dreaming of better than getting new skills. Mental creation comes first. Build it in your mind before it becomes reality. Thinking you're capable leads you to seek opportunities.
Right.
We're not bound by limitations. The mind is a starting point. Life reflects what you deeply think about and strive for, but vision needs commitment and action.
It really does all circle back to taking control of our thoughts.
It does. Reflect on the life you want. Let that vision guide your thoughts, actions. Transcend limitations with perseverance, belief.
So, wrapping up our deep dive into James Allen's As a Man Thinketh. It's just undeniable, isn't it? The massive impact he describes our thoughts having on everything. Character, circumstances, achievements, destiny.
And it's not passive, as we've seen. He really stresses our active role, our responsibility to cultivate our thoughts, challenge negativity, align our minds with purpose and ideals. We really hope this deep dive has sparked some insights, maybe a few of those aha moments.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, here's a final thought for you to take away. Just take a few moments today. Really, honestly, reflect on your own thought patterns. What seeds are you planting in that mental garden? Consciously or maybe unconsciously? And then what's one small thing, one tangible step you can commit to starting right now to deliberately cultivate more positive, purposeful thinking? That single step, as Allen suggests, could be the very first, most important step towards reshaping your whole life.
Yeah, we definitely encourage you to explore As a Man Thinketh more if this resonated. Read the whole thing, see how these principles connect with your own experiences. It's powerful stuff.